I welcome you all to the next lecture today. Basically, we are going to discuss about numerical problems based on the availability and unavailability concept. So, again, I welcome you here, Professor Ravi Kumar from School of Mechanical Engineering, Shastra Deemed to be University, Tanjore. In previous lecture, we have covered the related derivation and theory part of availability and unavailability, where you have been given exposure to how to apply the concept of exergy for the analysis of open system as well as closed system, and you have clearly seen, right, how to find out the change in availability of a closed system as well as for the open system. We have defined irreducibilities associated. We also defined the effectiveness, how to calculate the effectiveness of a device, as well as first and second law efficiency also got defined in the previous lecture. So it's my request, right, or you can take it as a suggestion, right, to refer the previous lecture, right, especially for the formulas used, and also each and every one of you must have calculator with you, because today we are going to solve some of the problems based on the availability concepts, right. So you have to verify the answers along with me, right. So I'm taking the first problem, right, for today from your standard textbook. It is Engineering Thermodynamics by PK Nag, right. This book has been prescribed as the standard textbook for the engineering thermodynamics in most of the universities in India. So let's take the first problem, right. First problem says, in a certain process, a vapor, while condensing at 420 degrees Celsius, transfers heat to water evaporating at 250 degrees Celsius. Full stop. The resulting steam is used in a power cycle which rejects heat at 35 degrees Celsius. Full stop. What is the fraction of the available energy in the heat transferred from the process vapor at 420 degrees Celsius that is lost due to the irreversible heat transfer at 250 degrees Celsius? I'm again repeating the problem, please note it down. In a certain process, a vapor, while condensing at 420 degrees Celsius, transfers heat to water evaporating at 250 degrees Celsius. Full stop. The resulting steam is used in a power cycle which rejects heat at 35 degrees Celsius. Full stop. What is the fraction of the available energy in the heat transfer from the process vapor at 420 degrees Celsius that is lost to the irreversible heat transfer at 250 degrees Celsius? So this is basically the first problem that you are going to solve with. So it is clearly said that water is getting vaporized and that heat is getting supplied to the condensing water, and that the heat which has been generated there will be utilized for a power cycle. So let's draw the diagram. How is it? So let's suppose it is not going to supply to the condensing water, then it will be a single power cycle. So I will draw here, right. So it is the entropy, and here I will represent the temperature. So first process is it is starting from here. I can say A and B, all right, and it's going up to certain rejecting heat at this temperature, right, and this is the maximum temperature at which basically your heat is getting supplied, all right. So let's suppose this is your change in entropy delta S for this process. So first process is basically it is vaporizing at 693 Kelvin. So this is my temperature 1, right? And rejecting heat at 35 degrees Celsius. So this is basically the lowest temperature, or I can say that state temperature is 308 Kelvin, and water is condensing somewhere in between. So that process is starting. If I say it is starting from here and from here, and this is getting utilized as a cycle, and it also sharing heat at 35 degrees Celsius. Whatever heat which has been generated here, vaporization, it is getting supplied here in condensation as well. So this is the cycle for that, and that is the primary cycle. And so this much portion, if you look at this much portion, all right, which is available here, is basically increase in unavailability or unavailable energy. And for that, let's suppose this is the change in entropy for this cycle delta S dash, and this temperature is also given T1 dash, which is nothing but 523 Kelvin. So this is the basic cycle. So it is basically vaporizing here, right, which temperature was given around 420. So that has been converted into 693 in Kelvin by adding 273, and its heat is getting supplied to the condensing water, right, evaporating water. Water is getting evaporated here, right, here you are supplying the heat. So corresponding temperature is here. So initial cycle was this, right, and the final, when you are supplying that heat to water evaporator, that heat whatever you have supplied at water evaporator is going to utilize in a power cycle. So that power cycle is here. So if I write A, B, and this is C, this is D, if I say this is E and this is F and this is G, so this is a different cycle. All right, so like that you can draw. So now it's asking how much portion, how much fraction of this heat which you have generated a vaporization will be lost to the environment, or which has been lost as increase in unavailable energy of the surroundings. That we need to find it out. So how to do so? How to start with? First of all, you need to write what is Q1 heat, which is basically getting supplied from this primary cycle from here. Alright, so heat Q1, you can simply write one equation. Heat Q1 which is getting supplied, we can write it is a source basically. So at constant temperature it will be supplying these. So T1 into delta S, as per the second law, we can say heat is equal to T1 into delta S. So I can say T1 into delta S. This is the heat which has been supplied from water which is vaporizing here. Then evaporation, at evaporation how much heat has been taken, that will be equal to this, because same heat we are supplying here to make your water to evaporate. So that we can be written as T1 dash into delta dash. This is my equation number 1. This is the delta S for this process evaporating, and this is the vaporization. So for this is T1 into delta S, this is T1 dash into delta S. So from here you can find out one relationship. So I can say delta S dash divided by delta S is equal to T1 divided by T1 dash, right? So you got one relationship here. Delta S dash divided by delta S is equal to T1 divided by T1 dash, and T1 temperature is this one, T1 dash is evaporating temperature, T1 is vaporization temperature. This is the one thing that you have done. Now you look at how much basically work available, right, at vaporization and work available at evaporation, that we need to find out. So this is one cycle, right, this is another cycle. So the work, so you can say we need to find out the fraction of the available energy which is available here, how much portion of that is going to be lost as unavailable energy, right, that we are going to find out. So we need to know what is the available energy here and what is the available energy here. We take the difference divided by initial available energy, we can get the fraction of the available energy, right, which has been gone to increase the unavailable energy. So we can write down now the fraction of energy that becomes unavailable due to the irreversible heat transfer is nothing but the fraction, if you are going to find out, that will be like W minus W1 dash divided by W. So this basically we need to calculate. So initial available energy will be more, and this is the available energy at evaporation divided by the available energy at your vaporization. So this we need to find out fraction of energy, fraction of this energy which has been lost. So we can find out in this way. So for this we need basically available energy, right, which is available. This is equation number 2. So the available energy at the source, right, at vaporization, W is equal to nothing but Q1 and Q2 is here, right? Q2 is getting transferred here, right? So for this cycle, Q1 is just T1 into delta S, and Q2 is T0 into delta S. You can write here. So W is equal to T1 minus T0 delta S, right? And W dash will be nothing but this temperature T1 dash minus T0 into delta S. So this is the available energy, right? Available energy of work in this cycle 1, and this is in this cycle. So don't get confused. This is the work in cycle A, B, C, D, right? And this is in cycle E, F, Z, D. EF, ZD. So that you can get now. So now you know the available energy for both. You can take the difference, then you can divide it and you can get the answer. So let's go for that. So I need this one, right? This portion. So you know this, right? I am not I am erasing this. So I will erase this, right? Already you know that. So this can be written as 1 minus W1 dash divided by W, right? Which can further be written in W1 W dash is nothing but T1 dash minus T naught into delta S divided by W is T1 minus T naught into delta S dash. Just I need delta S divided by delta S dash, which is here, right? I can utilize this. So this is reverse of this. So you can write this as 1 minus T1 dash minus T naught divided by T1 minus T naught into this is inversely of this. So I can write T1 dash divided by T1. Clear? You got this. So this is the fraction of energy, right? So you can write this is a fraction of available energy, which is basically is going to increase the this that is basically going to be rejected to increase the unavailable energy, right, due to irreversible heat transfer. So I know all the temperature. T1 dash is here, T0 is here, right? T1 is here. You substitute all these temperatures here, 1 minus this bracket, you will get the fraction of energy, which is basically going to be rejected. So this is coming around 0.26. So this is the answer for first problem, 0.26. So like that you can solve. Just look at this. This is the final answer, 0.26 that you are getting out of it. Clear or not? So yeah, is there any mistake? So there is a mistake here, right? Basically, this is delta S this, this is delta S. That means this will become as it is. This is T1, this is T1 dash, right? Just do this modification. So when you are writing W1 dash, it will be delta S dash, and when W, it will be delta S. So delta S dash divided by delta S, we have already know here, which is just simply T1 by T1 dash. Just switch to here T1 and T1 dash and put the value, you will get this answer. So this is your first problem, right? Like that you can solve. So this is the fraction of energy which is basically is being lost to the atmosphere, right, to increase the unavailable energy. So let's go for the second problem. So second problem we are taking now. So second problem again I am dictating, please note it down. In a steam boiler, hot gases from a fire transfer heat to water which vaporizes at constant temperature. Full stop. In a certain case, the gases are cooled from 1100 degrees Celsius to 550 degrees Celsius, while the water evaporates at 220 degrees Celsius. Full stop. The specific heat of gases is 1.005 kilojoule per kilogram Kelvin, comma, and the latent heat of water at 220 degrees Celsius is 1858.5 kilojoule per kilogram. Full stop. All the heat transferred from the gases goes to the water. Full stop. How much does the total entropy of the combined system of gas and water increase as a result of the irreversible heat transfer? Obtained obtain the result on the basis of 1 kilogram of water evaporate. Full stop. If the temperature of surrounding is 30 degrees Celsius, find the increase in unavailable energy due to irreversible heat transfer. So this is the problem, right? Second problem that you are going to solve. So almost process will be same, right? Here also water is getting, heat is getting supplied from the source to water, right, which is going to evaporate. So process I will draw it again. So second problem process is something like this. In a certain process, your gases are getting cooled right from 1100 degrees Celsius, right from first point to second point it is coming, and then finally it is rejecting heat right at some temperature, that is surrounding temperature, that is called T naught, right? This is T2 and this is T1. So this is gas basically. So if I say this is a mass flow rate of gas which is coming here, all right, and this is the surrounding temperature, right, that is given around 303 Kelvin. T1 is 1373 Kelvin. T2 is 823 Kelvin. Now, water is evaporating here. So one cycle is this, another cycle is this. You can draw. Here is the mass flow rate of water, and that is evaporating at this temperature. This is given as 493 Kelvin. I will say this as T1 dash. So whatever heat is coming from here is getting supplied here also, right? So this, if I draw, this is the change in entropy of gas, and this much is the change in entropy of water, right? This is S and this is T. So process something like this, right? And this much portion which extra you are getting, this is nothing but increase in unavailable energy. Increase in unavailable energy. Just look at this diagram. So gases are getting cooled, and this, due to this cooling process, heat is getting rejected and heat is getting supplied to the water which is evaporating here, right? So evaporation process is a phase change process. For that latent heat is given, and then this is utilizing in a power cycle, right? This is a complete power cycle. This is change in entropy of gas alone, and this is change in entropy of water. The mass flow rate of water, this mass flow rate of gas. So first task, we need to know how much heat is getting supplied, right, by the gas. So that same heat you are supplying to the water evaporator. And evaporation process is a phase change process which will happen at constant temperature. That temperature is already given 493. So amount of heat supplied. How to calculate amount of heat supplied? Q1 is equal to mass flow rate into mass flow rate of water into latent of fusion, right? That's what is your that's what is your amount of heat supplied for the phase change. Mass flow rate of water into latent heat of evaporation, right? I am just representing that by F. Mass flow rate of water is given as 1. Already it is clearly mentioned, it is 1 kilogram per second, which is already given, right? 1 kilogram per second, or you can say mass of water is given 1 kilogram. Leave it. Mass flow rate you leave. Mass of water is given as 1 kilogram. 1 kilogram basis you need to calculate. And latent fusion of evaporation is given as 1858.5 kilojoule per kilogram. This is given, right? So you can substitute the value here. 1 into 1858.5 kilojoule. So you got this much amount of heat is getting supplied, right, via the gas to make your water to be evaporated. So now I need to know what is the value of mass of gas and Cp of gas, which is not clearly mentioned. So the same Q1 is nothing but mass of gas, Cp of gas, temperature 1 minus temperature 2, that is nothing but 1858. So I can get from here mgCpg value, clear not? I can get this value. So use your calculator and find it out. So this value is coming around mgCpg value is coming around 3.38 kilojoule per degree C, or Kelvin also you can write. So it is coming around kilojoule per degree C. This is the answer for mgCpg. Now it's asking total entropy change, right? So entropy change of water and entropy change of gas need to be calculated, and nothing is going to the atmosphere, right? So entropy change of water first we can calculate. So entropy change of water. So water is happening to the water. Water is just evaporating, right? And nothing is happening after that. So water is evaporating, that is at constant temperature. So I can say this is m of water into latent heat divided by temperature. Which temperature? This temperature, right? T1 dash. So you can put the value 1 into 1858.5 divided by T1 is 493. Just substitute and calculate. This will give the change in entropy of water, right? That is just evaporating. So this value is coming around 3.77 kilojoule per Kelvin. There is a change in entropy of water which is gaining heat. That's why it's positive. Now change in entropy of gas. Delta S of gas is nothing but mg Cpg ln of T2 divided by T1. T2 is here, right? Mg Cpg already it is here, so you can put 3.38 ln of 823 divided by 1373. So just calculate this. Just calculate this. So this will come in negative because it is getting rejected from this, so it will come in negative. So just solve this. 3.38 into ln of 823 divided by 1373. So this value is coming around minus 1.725 kilojoule per Kelvin. So nothing is going to the surroundings, right? We are not rejecting anything out of it, out of the cycle. So total change in entropy of the universe, right? So total entropy or universe entropy is now the delta S of water plus delta S of gas. Add these two values, right? You'll get the total entropy. So total entropy is coming around 2.045 kilojoule per Kelvin. This is the first answer which has been asked. Now, once after getting this, it is asking what is the increase in unavailable energy, right? So increase in unavailable energy, if you want to calculate, that will be given by very simple formula, right? So increase in unavailable energy will be given by T naught into delta S, total delta S of universe. So T naught is given 303 and delta S is here 2.045. So if you calculate, this is called aerosolity, means unavailable energy. Just calculate it out how much it is coming. So it is coming around 620 kilojoules. So this is the another answer. This is the another answer. So this is the increase in unavailable energy, that is nothing but T naught into delta S of universe, which is already you calculate, multiply, you can get this, right? Is that clear? So this is the second problem. Let's go to the third problem, right? Third problem in this series, I will take slightly application to the non-fluid process. Note down 2 kilogram of air at 500 kilopascal, comma 80 means 80 degree Celsius expands adiabatically in a closed system until its volume is doubled and its temperature becomes equal to that of the surroundings, which is at 100 kilopascal, comma 5 degrees Celsius, full stop. For this process, determine part A of the problem, the maximum work, comma part B, the change in availability, and part C, the irreversibility, full stop. For air, take specific heat at constant volume as 0.718 kilojoule per kilogram Kelvin and PV is equal to MRT, right, where characteristic gas constant is equal to 0.287 kilojoule per kilogram Kelvin and temperature is in Kelvin. So this is the third problem in the series, right? So what is given basically, 2 kilogram of air is getting expanded, right? How actually it is getting expanded? Polytropically, right? Adiabatically in a closed system. So what is given? Note it down. Then we'll apply the non-flow availability functions, right, to find out the availability, right? Change in availability, maximum work, then aerosolity is associated. So the third problem, what is given? Given is mass is given 2 kilogram, right? Initial pressure is given 500 kilopascal. Initial temperature is given 353 Kelvin. Final volume is given 2 times of initial volume. T2, that is equal to T naught, which is given as 278 Kelvin. P naught, atmospheric pressure, is also given 100 kilopascal. Alright, these are all things given. Right, so from initial itself, from this equation, these two equations, P1 V1 is equal to MRT1, get volume 1, because volume 2 is 2 times of volume 1, that is MRT1 divided by P1. So M is given 2, R is 0.287, T1 is given as 353 divided by P1 500 kilopascal. So to solve this, you will get the volume 1, which is coming around 0.4052 meter cube. So this is the volume 1 which you got. Clear? Now the first thing what he is asking in this, find out the maximum work. So for a closed system, maximum work will be generating inside, right? That means boundary displacement work will not be added into that. So maximum work, this is the first part of it, right? It's nothing but u1 minus t naught s1 minus u2 minus t naught s2. So if you solve this, you can get u1 minus u2, these are all capital, minus t naught s1 minus s2, right? Just look at this. What all parameters are there? Pressures are changing, right? Temperature is changing, right? And volume is changing. So I need a relationship for adiabatic process entropy change, right? In a closed system associated with irreversibility, right? Change in entropy in the form of volume ratio and temperature ratio, right? So I can apply MCB ln of T2 by T1 plus R ln of V2 by V1 relation that we already derived, right? So I can write this as mass is same in both. Mass you take out Cb T1 minus T2 minus T naught. Instead of minus T naught, I will write plus T naught to make it S2 minus S1, right? So I can write now here equation, right, for this one Cb ln of T2 by T1 plus R ln of B2 by B1 and bracket close, and this is T naught, right? You know all the values, T1 T2 are given, Cb value is also given, that is 0.718 kilojoule per kilogram Kelvin. Alright, T naught value which is already given, Cb ln of T2 by T1 R ln of B2 by B1, just substitute the value, you will get the maximum work. So maximum work is coming around 122.7. So this is around 122.7 kilojoule only, because kilogram is already there. So first part is over of this problem, right? It has been asked what is the maximum work, right? Second part is asking about change in availability, right? Change in availability. Yeah, that's what he is asking. Second part is part B of this problem, the change in availability. So change in availability will be given by phi 1 minus phi 2, where phi is non-flow availability function and non-flow availability function is u plus p naught b minus t naught s, right? So if you expand that, you will get that as u1 minus u2 minus t naught s1 minus s2 plus p naught b1 minus b2, or you can say this term already you calculated, that is w max minus p naught b2 minus b1. So this is the work that you have done in displacing the boundary, so p naught and b2 minus b1, p naught is given here, you look at p naught is given, and b2 is 2 times of b1 which is given, and w max you already calculated. So substitute all the value, you can get the change in availability. This is coming around 82.2 kilojoules. So this is the change in availability. So like that you can calculate. Clear? Last one is asking about irreversibility associated. Irreversibility is nothing but increase in unavailability, right? Increase in unavailability. So third part of it, irreversibility. Irreversibility given by I is nothing but W max minus W actual, or this is also equal to T naught into delta S. T naught into delta change in entropy. Change in entropy is just simply S2 minus S1. So this is nothing but T naught S2 minus S1. So T naught is already given 278, and S2 minus S1 already you calculate. If you have not calculated, then write MCV ln of T2 by T1 B2 by B1. Just substitute the value, you can get irreversibility, right? Mass CV ln of T2 by T1 or ln of B2 by B1 and 278. So you can the irreversibility value that is coming around 15 kilojoule. So this is the final answer. Final answer of this problem. Final answer of this problem. T naught into delta S is here. So substitute the value, you can get final answer irreversibility. Either you can directly use this formula T naught into delta S, you can calculate, or you can go with actual work, right? Actual work concept, then you solve. How to do that? This is one thing, right? Directly, or second way, right? You can use the actual work formula. This is the one way, direct formula. You can get T naught delta S, or else you apply the first law of thermodynamics, right, to get the actual work. So from first law you can say Q is equal to U2 minus U1, right, plus W. So this is adiabatic process, so Q is 0, right? So W, this is actual, so W actual is equal to U2 minus U1, that is nothing but MCB T2 minus T1. Get this W actual and then substitute here. Get this W actual and then substitute here. That's all that you need to do. That's the one thing. Or either directly T naught into delta S you can calculate. So this is over. Clear? So this is W actually is minus. So whatever value you will get, that is in minus, and whatever term is coming, use that and substitute here. You will get same value what you are getting here. Right? This is the second way. This is the second way by which you can do. W actual by applying the first law of thermodynamics. Q is equal to U2 minus U1 plus W actual. So W actual is equal to minus U2 minus U1, that you calculate. So here you can get irreversibility. So this is your third problem in this series. I will take the last problem. With that, we will be able to solve all sort of problem. Now I will take one example for open system as well. So note down, air expands through a turbine from 500 kilopascal, 520 degrees Celsius to 100 kilopascal, 300 degrees Celsius. Full stop. During expansion, 10 kilojoule per kilogram of heat is lost to the surroundings, which is at 98 kilopascal, 20 degrees Celsius. Full stop. Neglecting the kinetic energy and potential energy changes determined per kilogram of air. Part A of this problem, the decrease in availability. Part B of this problem, the maximum work. And part C of this problem, the irreversibility. So he is asking decrease in availability, then maximum work and irreversibility. Full stop. For air, take specific heat at constant pressure as 1.005 kilojoule per kilogram Kelvin, and enthalpy is equal to Cp times of capital T. That's all. So these all things are given. This is for open system. You need to solve it out. First case was for the closed system. So this is the last problem from the availability concept, and so these four problems basically are covering all the concepts, and remaining problems you can look from the solved examples from Pickinard. So this is the last problem. What is given? Given P1 is given 500 kilopascal, T1 is given 793 Kelvin, P2 is given 100 kilopascal, right, and T2 is given 573 Kelvin, 73 Kelvin, and heat transfer during process is given 10 kilojoule per kilogram negative because it's getting transfer. Atmospheric condition P naught is given 98 kilopascal, and T naught, which is given as 293 Kelvin, and Cp value for air is 1.005 kilojoule per kilogram Kelvin. These all things are given, right? And it's an open system, right? In a turbine it is happening. So look at what all variables are there. Temperature is varying, pressure is varying. So we need a change in entropy formula, right? Which relates change in ratio of pressure and ratio of temperature. So I can use Cp ln of T2 by T1 minus R ln of P2 by P1 as S2 minus S1, right? S2 minus S1. So first part of this is asking change in availability, right? Change in availability. So change in availability is nothing but psi1 minus psi2 steady flow availability function, that is also equal to b1 minus b2. These are Keenan function, right? Keenan function, b1 minus b2 Keenan function, right? That is applicable for open flow system. So these are nothing but, I can say, per mass basis we are calculating. So h1 minus T naught S1 minus H2 minus T naught S2. So if you solve this, you get H1 minus H2, right, minus T naught S1 minus S2, which can further be written as H1 minus H2 plus T naught S2 minus S1. So this can be written as Cp T1 minus T2, or just write capital T1 minus T2 plus T naught. This we can write Cp ln of T2 by T1 minus R ln of P2 by P1, right? So this I have written. This is change in availability. Now look at what all things you know. You know T1, T2, you know Cp, you know T naught, and P2 by P1, T2 by T1. Everything is given here. Just substitute. That will give the change in availability, which is coming around 260.7 kilojoule per kilogram per unit mass basis we are calculating, right? This is the one thing. So change in availability is over. Part B of this problem, maximum work has been asked. So maximum work is nothing but same thing, right? What is psi1 minus psi2? So this is also equal to psi1 minus psi2, which is here 260.7 kilojoule per kilogram, because there is no displacement work involved in the open systems, open flow system. So whatever change in availability, that itself is maximum work, right? Next point is aerosolity. We need to calculate. This is over, right? So I'm erasing this. So part C of this problem, irreversibility. So irreversibility is W max minus W actual, right? So we'll go by this. W max already we know, W actual we need to calculate. So apply the first law to this, right? First law to this. So first law is steady flow energy equation you need to apply directly. I cannot apply Q is equal to delta U plus W for this, because there is no displacement work in open system. So we need to apply the steady flow energy equation, right, at inlet and outlet. So if you do so, point mass we are writing, so we can write H1 plus Q, whatever heat is getting transferred, that is basically we will write plus Q, but when we put the value we will put minus because it is getting rejected, is equal to H2. Any shaft work is producing, yes, that we need to calculate W actual. So W actual is equal to H1 minus H2 plus Q. So I can say this is Cp T1 minus T2, and Q is basically rejecting, so minus 10. So put the value here 1.005, right, and T1 value 793 and T2 value 573 minus 10. Just solve this 1.005. and substitute the value, you will get the actual work, right? So actual work is coming around 2111 kilojoule per kilogram. This is the actual work. The moment you know the actual work, maximum work is here, you can get the irreversibility. So just substitute here. So 260 minus 211.1, you can get the value. So this is coming around 49.6 kilojoule per kilogram. This is irreversibility. Final answer. Final answer. So like that you can solve. Clear? Like that you can solve. So actual work you got by using the steady flow energy equation, because it's an open system. So steady flow energy equation. It was the closed system. We could have applied Q is equal to delta U plus W. As there is no displacement work, so we have to go for steady flow energy equation. H1 plus Q is equal to H2 plus W. Actual kinetic energy, potential energy terms are not available. So directly you can get actual work. Difference will give the irreversibility. So like that you can solve the problems based on the availability and unavailability. For today's lecture, I am closing our discussion here. In the next class, Rohan will meet. We will solve some problems on first law efficiency and second law efficiency. Right? That is also very important topic of the availability, and some more advanced problem on availability will also be solved in the next class. So if you are having any doubt in these four problems that we have solved today, please feel free to write in the comment section, or you can directly text to me on my WhatsApp number I'll share with you. See you all in the next class with the more numerical problems, right? Advanced numerical problems on availability, right? Have a nice day. Good day.